So we're going to go through the pros and cons next. We're going to start with the cons first. So we want people to have an informed decision when they're looking to us. So what are 5 reasons that people wouldn't want to move to the city? And we'll just go through it one by one. Number 5 first. So what is the 5th reason that somebody thinking about moving to Joliet would probably maybe want to reconsider?
I mean, I keep saying small town feel, but we're at like, I think 300,000 people in the area, 250 somewhere in there. And so there's still a lot of congestion. I mean, there's traffic, certain parts of the day, you don't want to drive down certain streets. So you won't get anywhere fast. And I think the biggest problem with the transportation is the city itself has these old, bridges that go across the river. And I mean, you'd be surprised how many, I think I've lived here, like I said, 30 some years. And I've probably seen that bridge going over Jefferson Street downtown probably broke 75 times for months at a time, so there's still a lot of work to do, but transportation, I mean, we have it. It's just traffic is something that it's hard to avoid.
On that bridge in particular, I swear to God, every time I'm on it, I'm waiting.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, cool, man. Let's just jump to the next one. What do you think is the 4th reason that people might want to reconsider if they're looking at Joliet?
Well, depending on where they're coming from, I would say the weather, right? It's always either way too hot, like the last 3 days have shown us, right? Like 100, it feels like 110 with the humidity, like ridiculous. And then there's no in between. It's either -40 in the winter, and and so I mean the weather is just, it's very it's just not good. It's not a fun time, to live in that weather. So
yep, that's absolutely for sure. We get a couple of weeks of spring and maybe a month of fall if we're lucky. All right, cool, brother. What is con number 3?
Con number 3, I would go back to the transportation. It's still hard to get around the city if you don't have a car, right? It's possible, but it's not like downtown Chicago. Like there's a taxi every single place, there's a bus stop every block, whatever. So I would say that's probably a con depending on your situation. Well, yeah, I mean, that's nothing else you really can do about it until the city fixes that. So.
Yeah, and it's a suburban city too. So, I mean, it's kind of, most suburban cities are car dependent to a degree. Right. So, I mean, that is part of, it's somewhat expected, right? So that makes sense. What would con number 2 be for you, Justin?
Probably just the government. I mean, it's very cliquey in Joliet. A lot of things get stalemated because, one person in a group of 4, just didn't like it. So they all vote no. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of, old Illinois politics. It's still kind of in Joliet, so that's a pretty big con. I know there's going to be a big mayor race this year, and, everybody promises change, and we'll just hold our breath and see, you know what I mean? So,
people have been promising change a long time, right? I mean,
yeah, but there's always growth, and that's course. So.
Well, growth is what you want to see, for sure. Yeah. 100%. All right, brother, here it is, man. What is con number 1?
Actually, I'm going to have to go back to like a traffic thing, but we one of the biggest problems in Joliet right now is our semi traffic through I-80 corridor going through the city. So I know they're right now building a new bridge because there's a couple towns south of us with they have a lot of industrial and warehouses, and I mean, just the amount of semi traffic we get and the toll it's doing onto the bridges over there. I mean, there was a time where I would say it was only like 3 or 4 years ago where people were scared to actually drive over that bridge because they saw the rating of it or something. And, every time you went over it, it was like, is this the time the bridge collapses? So,
Oh God.
so I know they're remedying it, but it's going to be a little while before it's done, but it won't be I don't think it'll be the cure all. It'll definitely help. So, I mean, yeah, we actually, Joliet just has a lot of traffic problems, so.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Well, I mean, if traffic is really the biggest problem that you have, it's not the worst thing. I mean,
yeah,
there's lots of traffic problems almost anywhere in the city or in much of the suburbs as well. So, I mean, it's not uncommon in the area.
Yeah. The only problem, and this reason I brought up the semis, like I-80, especially coming into downtown, is everything needs to be fixed over there. It needs to be, I guess up to code for how a standard highway is now, because it's very narrow lanes. There's no shoulder guardrails. I mean, there's been a lot of unfortunate, accidents just in that little, half mile area. So, that's just something that needs to absolutely be fixed, but, it will be. No one knows when. So.
Well, at least they're working on it, or they have some sort of a plan for it. That's all that matters. All right. So back to a positive note, Justin, we're going to jump into the 5 best reasons to move to Joliet. So let's just hit it off with best reason number 5.
Yeah. The community. I mean, it's a very, again, I use this word diverse, but it's a very diverse community. I would say the majority of people who live here really, really care about the city in whole. And they want what's best for it. So the community is definitely just one of the top-notch communities for sure when it comes to cohesiveness.
Absolutely. And that seems totally clear to me just talking to you, because you kind of bring the community into a lot of your answers. So, I mean, it's just, you could see that you're practicing what you preach. That's awesome. So let's go ahead and jump into the next one, man. What is the 4th best reason?
We got the food. The food is, we talked about the taco trucks, the food. I mean, there's not many places you can go where, almost every other block, there's a taco place. You know what I mean? Like there's just a lot of Mexican food restaurants, even little towns like Shorewood right next to Joliet and Shanahan. I mean, anywhere you go, I mean, there is a top-notch, Mexican restaurant, but the food in general is just unbelievable. Joliet has actually picked that game up a lot. They have a steakhouse down there, and I think it's called Chop 158. I might be getting that wrong. I hope I'm not, or Cut 158. Actually, it might be Cut 158. And unbelievable steakhouse. I mean, and that just, came a couple years ago, right before the pandemic, and they survived it. So,
that's a good sign. That's a good sign if a restaurant shows up right before the pandemic and they survive it, because that is a very tough environment. I'm gonna have to check it out. That's one of my favorite things about doing this podcast, man. I get all these cool places to check out.
I'll get it anytime. Let's go.
Oh yeah, man. It sounds fantastic, brother. Let's just jump right into it, brother. What is the 3rd best reason to move to Joliet?
I would just go with the entertainment, like we talked about earlier. I mean, we're couple casinos, one casino is way more packed than the other. So if you don't feel like dealing with a lot of people, you go to the quieter casino, right? Like the quiet pool at the resort, right? We got Joliet Slammers, which is a very, very good minor league baseball team, and it's a blast. They do a lot of things for kids at these baseball games. The high school sports around here. I mean, they have Providence Catholic, Joliet Catholic. I mean, these are top rated, Catholic high schools that have just won 7, 8, 9, state championships. It seems like every year they're winning, right? Mm-hmm. So just a lot of entertainment there with the festivals and everything Joliet does. Definitely entertainment, man.
Yeah, lots of professional athletes, actually, professional football players in general went to Joliet. I wish I could. Unfortunately, all the names are escaping me. I know a lot of professional. Yeah, I know a lot of professional. Tom Thayer.
Yeah, Tom Thayer was one. Mike Allstott came from Joliet Catholic. I know a couple of baseball players from the area have made it. Yeah, I mean, they got some really cool programs, you know. But you know, Friday nights, like Inwood Stadium where Joliet Catholic plays, I mean, it's like, you know, the traffic's horrible. You can't find a parking spot. The stadium's full, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. And we get a lot of stuff too with the hockey rink. You know, we've had the Wolves come practice at our hockey rink, Blackhawks, you know, things of that nature. So there's just a lot of fun things to do.
Sounds like you hit the nail on the head there. So let's just jump to the next one, brother. What is the second best reason to move to Joliet?
I would say jobs. You know, I know Amazon, I think they just put in a third one, but I know for sure they have two in the area, but they're 1 million square foot warehouses, and they provided so many jobs over the last couple of years. And you know, the nice thing is we still have a lot of area to build on. So there's a lot of, you know, warehouses that still haven't been built. I mean, there's going to be more jobs to come. The casino employs hundreds of people. You know, both casinos do. So yeah, I mean, you know, if you don't have a job in Joliet, more than likely you chose not to find one. You know what I mean? Because there is a lot of jobs, you know, and whether or not you feel like a job is beneath you or above you or whatever, they're still there, you know. So
that's good. Steady employment, always important.
Right. Absolutely.
Cool, yeah, definitely. Well, let's do it. Let's get to number one reason. What is the number one pro for living in Joliet?
Honestly, the history of this city. Like, if you really take a deep dive into what this city started off as, and what it, you know, turned into and what it was at one time and where it's at now, I mean, it's impressive. The buildings, you know, early 1900s. I mean, Joliet was part of the original Route 66, right? I mean, it went right through Joliet. One of the guys that I used to fix my car, Paul and Mike's Transmissions, they've been there since, you know, Route 66. I mean, so you know, I mean, it's just the history of this city. It's we have a Route 66 museum in downtown Joliet, and I can't even make this up because my wife's a huge Beatles fan. But Paul McCartney decided he wanted to drive Route 66 and actually stopped at that museum.
No way.
Broad daylight. Yeah, so it's in there.
Paul
right
McCartney
now.
Just hanging out in Joliet.
Paul McCartney right in Joliet, you know. But he's just checking out the history, you know, and so there's I don't know where it is, but I know he signed Sir Paul McCartney somewhere in the museum, and you know, I mean, just things like that. Like, you know, we get the Rialto, which is historical. I mean, so yeah, history is a huge thing for us here, you know.
Absolutely. I think that's a phenomenal answer. I mean, the Paul McCartney thing is a nice little tidbit to throw
It's
out
cool.
there. I think that's pretty cool.
It's cool.
When I'm showing houses in Downers Grove, I like to bring up that Randy Savage was born there, because most people don't know that. Like, Randy Savage, born and grown, Downers Grove resident. Yeah.
It was from Downers Grove.
Yeah, it's hilarious, man. Well, cool, man. I mean, that's basically it. Unless you feel like I might have neglected something. Is there anything that you would like to bring up that we haven't discussed so far?
No. I mean, you know, whether you're moving here as a first-time home buyer, or, you know, you're just looking to downsize, upsize. I mean, there's a community in this area for you. And it's very, you know, big with investors. I mean, they do a lot of buy and holds here, a lot of rentals, right? Do a lot of flips. We're really doing a lot with 1031 exchanges in this area now. I mean, it's very real estate friendly. So no matter what your intentions are with real estate, if it's just to own a home or to, you know, try and make a good amount of money, you know, holding on to real estate, Joliet's a really good place for it. And the price points are a lot better than most.
Well, the price points are good. You could actually cash flow pretty good in Joliet, compared to a lot of other suburbs. Like, Joliet has some opportunities, especially because they have a lot of houses grandfathered into weird situations. There's so many houses in Joliet that have a garage unit.
Non-conforming duplexes.
Yes, exactly. Non-conforming duplexes. They got the addition on top of garages, so they have a single family house. It's functionally like 3 units. I see that stuff out there all the time, but there are cash flow opportunities out there because of that. So I mean, there's tons of stuff out there. Justin, has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. I wanted to thank you so much for your time. Obviously, you have shown us that you are the agent to talk to about Joliet. So can you please let our audience know the best way to get in touch with you if they're looking to buy or sell in Joliet?
Yeah. So Justin McLaughlin with EXP Realty, 815-768-9225. Best way to get a hold of me. Second best way is my email, SoldbyJmac, SoldbyJmac @gmail.com. You know, I always have someone watching that email. So if somebody says, hey, we're ready to list a house or buy a house, my assistant's going to be like, you know, blowing my phone up. Hey, go do this. So, yeah, those are the 2 best ways. I'm right here in Joliet, right on the edge of Joliet and Shorewood. Yeah, whatever you need, you know, investments, first time you want to buy a whole multi-unit, let's go.
There you go. There you go. You got your agent. Anybody looking in Joliet, Justin can do it all. So I wanted to thank anybody for listening to Living in Chicagoland. This week we went over Joliet, and we primed you up with an awesome agent in the area. So please reach out to him if you are looking to buy or sell in that area. And until next week, guys, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. Take care.
Yeah, appreciate it, Tim.